Hey, Sir Kyle here, and today we're going to be going over a few questions that you guys asked via Raw's Instagram. For maximum gains, only isolate protein, or is mixing isolate and concentrate? Basically, you guys will notice as you go and try to search for different proteins to buy, prices do vary, and that's for a really good reason. The quality of the protein powder, of the contents within a bottle, range, okay? So if we go to somewhere, let's say Walmart, and I buy a protein, I think Body Fortress comes to mind. If I have 2 scoops of that, or 50 grams of protein, versus having a quality protein, such as Raw's isolate, there's a difference. One of them is going to send me to the bathroom pretty quickly, one doesn't. And what it comes down to is the ability to digest the protein. If I lift every day and burn around 1,000 calories, how many calories should I be eating? Well, numerically speaking, obviously I hope you're eating more than 1,000 calories, okay? As far as if you're trying to make gains, as we know, when it comes down to it, calories in, calories out, at the end of the day, we do want to see more calories being taken in versus going out. As far as a general number, it really depends on the person's individualized. What supplement should I take as a natural bodybuilder? So, regardless if someone's natural or not, the 5 supplements I'd always recommend for someone is a quality omega-3 product, a vitamin D product, a vitamin K product, assuming that blood thinning is not an issue, turmeric, and then a quality GDA typically is the 5th one I'd go with. That can range though, depending if someone has digestive issues, I'll throw in a digestive product. But ultimately the reason for choosing these is because all of those supplements cannot be taken in through whole food sources alone. So whenever you go to the store, or anything nutrition that you're eating, you're always going to be lacking in vitamin D, vitamin K, which are essential for growth and inflammation purposes as well when you throw in turmeric. How do I bulk if I'm scared of losing abs? If you're 120 pounds, 130 pound male, don't worry about losing your abs. You need to put on the muscle first, okay? We all in our contemporary era get caught up in seeing something on Instagram and want to look like that. But at the same time, sometimes you need to put the time in that's required to put on the muscle. This doesn't necessarily mean that you have to put on a ton of fat. There's ways of going about it the correct way and bulking properly, so to speak. But as far as if you're trying to just maintain kind of where you're at, but slowly make improvements to your physique, again, you want to log everything you're doing. That starts with nutrition. You want to wake up and have a good plan to go off of. And then maybe every 2 weeks, because I think every week's a little excessive, you can kind of look back. You have the pictures, you have the weight scale, and you have the mirror. Those are 3 tools to use. You don't just rely on one. Just simply gaining scale weight, for someone that's more of an endomorph, they go to McDonald's and eat crappy or have a lot of different processed foods, they're going to hold a lot of water weight. So the scale's going up, but not necessarily does that equate to any kind of muscle gain. Best training split for intermediate trainers. So this question I can go into a lot more detail on if someone cares to ask in the next Q&A, but where I would start is somewhere between lifting 4 to 5 days a week, and the split I would kind of lay out to someone is something very traditional that goes as follows. Day 1, chest and triceps. Day 2, back and biceps. Day 3, I'll probably take off. Day 4, legs. Day 5, delts and some arms if needed. But again, I'm already hitting arms on the other 2 body parts. And then I'd repeat the process with an off day thrown in there as well. And again, generally from that, I see a lot of progress made, because what you have to also consider, despite having that same split, what you want to consider is the volume that is being done within those training sessions. How many calories does a high school athlete need to eat per day to gain size or muscle? Yes, that question is a little vague for me to answer. So moving forward, if we could be a little more specific, and then I can give Sir Kyle can provide you with the proper answer. If you get fatigued often, do you recommend having shorter workouts or less workout days? Great question. So I think it's important to pay attention to how you're performing week to week. So are you getting stronger? Do you feel like all of a sudden every single workout you're not getting the greatest pump? You're unable to concentrate throughout the day. Despite sleeping, perhaps you still wake up very groggy. These are all signs that you kind of need to take a step back and relax. What are some general tips or advice for a beginner going to their first cut? So my first piece of advice is to make sure you're cutting down from a point in which you have muscle. Because if you don't have muscle and you're cutting, this isn't for you. The most important tip I can give someone when they are at that point to where they can cut down and perhaps do their first show, or maybe it's for a photo shoot or whatever it may be, give yourself time. Don't rush the process. I always tell people at least 16 weeks. I prefer 20 to 24 weeks. That's the main thing I always see. Everyone nowadays, they look at the finished product. How fast can they get there? And for most people, it's not that fast. Be patient. Top supplement and vitamin recommendations. So me personally, one of my favorite products that I've been using lately is actually raw sleep. Now, sleep is one of the most important things, and if you're not getting it, it doesn't matter how you really eat, it doesn't matter how hard you train, how consistent you are, if you're enhanced, it doesn't matter what you take, because sleep is where everything begins. So if you're getting ample sleep to where you're not waking up every hour or you're not getting under 3 hours of sleep, then you can look and see the progress that can be made. With raw sleep, since I personally introduced it, my sleep is profoundly better. What are the most common mistakes people make with their recovery routine? So I would say there's two common mistakes I see. One of which is just simply not intaking enough food. You need food to grow, you need food to progress. And the second mistake is just not being consistent. And I don't just mean with your diet and nutritional plan. I mean, when you go in the gym on a Monday to train chest, did you train chest the day before? Are you keeping track of the frequency and the volume? As far as the movement patterns you're choosing, are you just choosing them because you saw Sir Kyle do them on YouTube? Are you just choosing them because maybe someone like Nick Walker said to do so? You need to find out the movements that work for you, and I encourage trying things, but at the end of the day, keep in mind if you're all over the place and you're training a certain body part one day and then 2 days later you train it with your friend, you're never going to be able to track true progress. And as a beginner, yes, you'll make leaps and bounds of progress no matter what from just getting into the gym and following a plan. But for those that are intermediate and anyone advanced will be able to testify for, you need structure. And rounding out our Q&A is the final question, your favorite intra-stack. I personally find great success using Raw's intra carb product. And on top of that, I like to use pump and pump 2. And then when I can, I'll throw in creatine. I find my pumps are great as long as my water intake throughout the day and I'm eating and sleeping. I have fantastic workouts. All right, guys, so that concludes the first Q&A with Sir Kyle. Moving forward, I ask that when you do submit questions via Raw Nutrition's Instagram, you are as specific as possible. That way I can give you the best answer possible. I really want you guys to know my intention here with these Q&As is just to be very raw. No pun intended. Until next time.